and welcome to Healthy Mind, Healthy Life. Today, we are joined by Jewel Hoffman. So, welcome to the show, Jewel.
Thank you so much for having me. So excited to be here.
Lovely, lovely. So, Jewel, before we start our conversation, I would love to mention this to all of our listeners that, uh, dear listeners, Jewel is a connection enthusiast with a degree in psychology and sociology and over 4,000 hours of friendship coaching and like she combines the evidence-based self-help and the latest friendship research to help women build the meaningful connections. So in the post-pandemic world, loneliness is a growing issue, as we all know, and we have faced that as well. And her mission is to change that. So she has personally faced the challenges of feeling unvalued and lonely and has transformed her understanding of the social connections. So join us as Jewel will share her journey and the insights on creating the authentic belonging and meaningful friendships in today's world. So welcome to the show again, Jewel.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. What an intro.
Thank you. You're welcome. So to understanding the crisis, if you can share uh, what the great friendship crisis is and why is it, I mean, it has become more prominent in these recent years.
Yeah, absolutely. So even before the pandemic,
Mhm.
Americans reported a 67% loneliness rate. So where people were feeling loneliness regularly to all of the time. And we see that being reflected in like a lot of the world as well, like that statistic. Loneliness has been steadily, linearly increasing since the 1970s. So even before the pandemic happened, we were lonely. And then I think, as well, for a lot of us, our relational habits, our friendship habits really shifted when we were spending so much time, isolated in our homes in the pandemic. And so many people went through friendship changes. Social anxiety since the pandemic has really increased. For our younger generation, it's starting to become like our new normal. So there's a lot of different reasons. One that is kind of obvious, but also really surprising, is that we do know that when the TV was introduced, loneliness went up.
Yeah.
And we saw a decrease in like third places. So, third places were a place between work and home where we would all gather and spend time together. And like my grandparents, they had the bowling alley where
Okay.
they went like three times a week. So, third places started to decrease and loneliness started to shoot up with more people sitting in front of their TVs. And now, since we have all of the technology that we have and these little portable TVs, computers in our pockets all of the time, it's started to tap into our our socializing in such a huge way because it's so much easier to go and to watch a show about Friends, if you will, to watch the show Friends, rather than to spend that little bit of like initial discomfort going and reaching out to new people or even the friends that you do have.
Mhm.
So uh there's a bunch of different reasons, but I think that is one that is really common all over the world.
It's really lovely. So yeah. So also, but thanks for sharing this. It's very very important. Um, Also about the common challenges, like what are some of the common issues that people face in their friendships, uh, especially after or post pandemic.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of us are overwhelmed and overstimulated, and friendship has kind of become like a chore. Because if we are so career oriented, like we are taught to be, and We are putting our all into our careers, putting our all into our work, and we're feeling really overwhelmed. It takes, again, that initial bit of discomfort to reach out, to go out, to spend time with people. And for so many of us, that has become, again, kind of like a chore. It's become like, oh, if I'm already burnt out and tired, why would I want to go spend the energy to go connect with others? However, what we do know is that connection fuels our energy, and loneliness completely zaps us. Like, we respond to stress so differently when we are connected and feeling connected rather than when we are feeling lonely. Our bodies are literally impacted on such a greater scale when we are feeling lonely. So that is a huge reason, is like making it sustainable. I like to say, like, I want to unshore friendship and like make it really fun and energizing again. So that is a common thing that I see, I think, as well. For a lot of people, we are becoming more avoidant and more distrusting of each other. There's so many things I could say about that. And then for a lot of people as well, with the increase of social anxiety, that fear of rejection, that low self-esteem is also a really big barrier to connecting with others as well and reaching out. As far as common challenges within our friendships go, um, a lot of us know how to meet new people,
Mm.
but we don't know how to actually make a friend. We don't know how to go deeper with people, how to, and not just deeper, like vulnerability, bearing your soul to somebody, but like, how do I deepen this bond? And there's a science to that that we do know. And that is what I'm really trying to get out there to as many people as I can. But most of the time when we are lonely because we don't have the quality of relationships that we want.
That's very, very true. Yeah. So, like, how can individuals start to overcome the feelings of loneliness and the disconnection?
I think just like any other feeling, like when you're mad or you're angry, and then you see the rest of the world through, like, oh, well, that sucks, or that sucks, like just how we kind of feel it in that way. The same goes for loneliness. Like, oh, like this person doesn't care about me. This person doesn't want to invest in me. So, one thing we can do is kind of what I like to say is putting on connection goggles or connection glasses. So, to start to see, okay, where are people caring for me, investing in me, or like, again, just like sending love my way that maybe I am missing. Every single time I have a client do that, they're always so surprised because we are really obsessed with is this person reciprocating with me? Is this person being a good friend? And when we do that, we often just pay attention to all the ways that our friends haven't reached out to us, and we're the only one that like gives, or the only one that reaches out in our friendships. And every single time I have a client do that, they're always like, oh my gosh, I completely missed this person and this person and this person who have been reaching out to me and investing in me. So that is a huge thing that we can do. It also, like, again, it's fueling. It gives us energy, because if you're looking for ways that people are investing in you and caring about you, you're more likely, again, to feel that emotion of connection in your body. And then what are you going to do? You're going to think of somebody and be like, oh my gosh, I wonder how their interview went. Or, oh my gosh, I haven't talked to so and so for a while. Or, wow, I remember this funny memory of me and so and so. So that is such a small tip, like looking for connection, that goes such a long way, because you are more likely to reach out when you are fueled and feeling that connection to begin with. So that would be my number one tip for everybody listening.
It's lovely. So, I mean, what are some of the key strategies, according to you, for building the friendships that uh, don't feel forced or maybe one-sided?
Yeah. So I do think we need to look for, on some level, emotionally intelligent people. However, I will say that involves us being emotionally intelligent and being honest with our people as well. That's more so as you were going deeper with somebody, being willing to have conversations like, I want to, like I feel like when we hang out, you are the one mostly sharing, and I want to make sure I share more as well and feel seen a little bit more in this friendship. Like we need to be more honest with each other and the people in our lives. In general, I think a lot of us, for a lot of different reasons, some that we already talked about, are really afraid of that rejection. However, we do know as well that friendship involves meaningful moments, consistency, and vulnerability. And when I say consistency, some people hear that and then they're like, oh my gosh, just another thing I have to be consistent about. But again, it's connection, it's fun, right? Use that tip of your connection glasses to really fuel this. But to increase our time spent with each other is so helpful because our brain literally, like if even if we're around new people, our brain puts up a little bit of an alertness all on its own because it wants to make sure that we are emotionally safe and because we are in an unfamiliar environment with unfamiliar people. That is normal. We don't need that to go away. That is fine. It can be there. However, how we, if you will, move past that is we create consistency. We spend time with people regularly. So some like just actions that we can do is we can build friendship into our routines. For example, my friends and I, we normally, today's Monday, so I'll see them later. Uh, we meet every Monday evening
Hmm.
and we do things that we already would be doing. It doesn't have to be that we have to go out to dinner. It doesn't have to be that we go out and do something. We do things that we would already be doing. Like one of my friends will literally like do her laundry and two of us will be like crafting something or, like stuff that we would already be doing at home. We just do together. But building that in as a routine is super helpful. It also really takes the logistical struggle out of it. Because so much of where that, if you will, like mind drama comes in is like, oh my God, I texted them twice about hanging out and they haven't heard back from me yet. And just that logistical struggle, which is so normal. Again, a lot of us are overwhelmed, overstimulated. It doesn't mean people don't care. Like, it really doesn't. However, I think, again, building those routines and building rituals or traditions as well. Uh, for a lot of people, the consistency of, oh, every year we go on like a weekly, an annual camping trip or something along those lines, that is also consistency. And building those things in to your life really allows you to change, again, your friendship habits, because we do have friendship habits in the way we relate to each other. But again, it just starts to take that mind drama, oh no, like, should I reach out of it? It kind of helps you out a little bit.
So, okay, how has the social media affected our friendships, and how can we use it positively to enhance our connections? What do you say?
Yeah, I think, well, with social media taking up a lot of our time and it being easier, I truly think one of the things we can do is limit
Mhm.
our screen time. And look, like, I am an entrepreneur. Like, every marketing is social media nowadays. Like, there's just no other way around it. So I understand, but like, I have like limits and times blocked on my phone that I think are just really helpful in general. These things, our phones are in social media, they're designed to suck up our energy and to give us those dopamine hits. So I do think in general, like limiting it is helpful. However, if we are to use social media in like a connective way, I do think a lot of us are afraid to be vulnerable, but like sharing what's really like going on with us. And I don't mean like bearing your soul on like an Instagram live or something, but what I find, and I notice this with myself and with other people, that if other people are like, you know, posting, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is, or TikTok, and they are like, you know, giving an update on, oh, I'm really working on this, everybody. And like, this is my, I had somebody on Facebook the other day, and I was like, wow, that is such a connective post. Because they were saying, this is where I'm at right now, and this is where I'm really trying to go. And I really appreciate like this support I've gotten, and this is kind of the support that I would want as I step into this career. And I was like, wow, that's so honest. And it allows people to rally around you, if you will, and be like, yeah, like I want to be there for you, support you, have your back in that. So I think we can use social media in a connective way and use what I call like connective communication, which is something that I really dive into. They could take the rest of our time together today, but something I really dive into with my clients is having that connective communication. We can use that on social media to connect with each other as well. Um, but yeah,
Great. So what is your vision for the future of friendships and connections, and how do you hope to contribute to this vision?
my goal, I like to say that I help people become socially delighted, be delighted by socializing, be delighted by being themselves, walking into a space,
Mm.
feeling authentic, and to have these deep, meaningful bonds that they're creating, not just to know how to do that, but to enjoy the process of that. So, my vision is one I do want to advocate. Like, you know, when the car was invented, there weren't seatbelts. People were getting in accidents. People, you know, were dying. There were all of these safety features that needed to be updated. And honestly, I think the same is true about social media as well. Meghan Markle has a quote that really goes into that idea that I love. And I agree. I think we need to add safeguards with social media and things like that. So there are certain like structural things and cultural things that I want to shift, but I really want to empower individuals to again take back some of that power, because just because we have, again, like there's a lack of third places where people meet in between work and home, just because we have all of these barriers, it doesn't mean we have to suffer now.
Okay, very, very cool.
Yeah, so my goal, and one thing I do know as well, is that every time I help a client, it spreads out into the rest of their lives, the people in their lives, their work, their relationship. It just spreads. So I am on a, I've been doing this for 4 years, have over 4,000 hours working with people. At this point, I've worked with almost 70 people one-on-one. My goal eventually is to do like 10,000 and to help 10,000 people become more socially delighted, because I can't even imagine the ripple impact of that. So thank you for asking. That's such a fun question.
Lovely, great. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us on this enlightening episode of Healthy Mind and Healthy Life. I believe that our conversation today with Joel has provided you with the valuable insights into navigating the great friendship crisis and building the supportive, balanced relationships. So, if you found this episode helpful, please share it with your friends, family, and the loved ones who need to know about this. And also, do not forget to subscribe to our podcast for more fun loving and content inspiring discussions like this. So, remember that a healthy mind leads to a healthy life, and nurturing meaning. Nurturing meaningful connections is a vital part of our journey. So, until next time, take care, keep striving for a healthy mind and a healthy life. So, thank you so much.